Hello everyone and welcome back to another battle report for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Very excited about this one because Venom is making his debut on the table today. This is the layout we've been using for Fallout Wasteland Warfare and some other stuff, but it's long overdue for a reckon. So we're going to have that happen in this battle report and then change things up for next time. We've got the mission set up. You can probably tell what it is based by what you can see on the table, but first let's go over the teams and then we'll go into the specifics. So the bad guys that you'll be booing this evening, well, it's morning here, but you know, whatever time it is for you, is as you see. So we have Modok, we have Red Skull, we have Doc Ock, and we have Killmonger. Forgot to mention it's 17 threat being played today of the two objectives. And the tactics cards being used here are Usurp the Throne, Psychic Fortress, Cosmic Invigoration, and Brace for Impact. And our heroes with Avengers affiliation, because 3 of them are Avengers affiliation, are as you see. So we have Captain America, we have Black Panther again, and of course Spider-Man and his new bestest pal. Look how much he towers over him. His bestest pal Venom. And for the crisis, the tactics cards rather, Lethal Protector and Uneasy Allies from the Venom box. And then also Sacrifice and Trip Up, purely because Venom is in the art for them, even though he's not having a great time in that one. So we'll be back in a second with the objectives. So you're probably familiar with both missions being played today based on the icons that you saw on the table. It's Gamma Wave Sweep across the Midwest for the Secure and Struggle for the Cube Fragments for the Extraction. So there's the 3 Gamma Shelters and it's these edges that are being played for deployment, although deployment hasn't happened yet. And you get 1 point for the Gamma Shelter closest to you, 2 for the middle one, and 3 for the one furthest away. And then you can hold a Cube Fragment. You get 1 damage at the end of a turn, but you gain power equal to that damage. And you score 1 victory point for each fragment you hold in the cleanup phase, and you can hold multiple. So before we deploy and decide who's going first, just a reminder that please do subscribe if you want to see more Marvel Crisis Protocol content in the future, as well as all the other games we cover. Batman will be making a return as I speak. The 3rd edition starter box is on its way. And if you want to go above and beyond to show extra support, take a look at Patreon. It supports this channel and also the gaming Twitch channel I run 6 nights a week. Helps keep the lights on, all that good stuff. And with that, let's get started. Sides have been drawn, there's sirens in the background which just adds to the ambience, honestly. The nefarious, villainous, sinister, some might even say a little bit smelly, villain side will be going first. They're deployed up to, well, again, because the rules don't specify you have to be within 3, you can actually, as long as part of you is touching 3, you can be able, you know how it is. Anyway, they're deployed in the line as you see fit, and then the Avengers plus Venom are all the way over here. Venom and Spider-Man kind of looking to team together this time, and then Cap and Black Panther kind of just doing their own thing. So as said, the villains are going first. They have the same number of miniatures, so until people start going down that's not likely to change, but we are now starting battle round 1 officially. So Red Skull activated first for the villains. Also, I forgot to mention at the top of the video, but if you see me doing anything weird with this finger, like leaving it pointing or if it's shaking more than usual, I have suffered a hand injury. Also, if that means the camera's shaking a bit more than usual, I apologise. It will heal itself in a little bit. Nothing broken, thankfully. But just as a notice, because that might also mean there's a delay in a new painting video. But anyway, the Red Skull, he used the cube to give himself 3 power, no skulls were rolled so he didn't take any damage. He then used that to move Modok 2 from his current position, just to move him up a little bit so he's on the far side of that Gamma Shelter. Then he just made a medium move as his second action because the move power doesn't count as an action, and spent his 1 power he got from the power phase to take the cube fragment that was there and put it on his card. And with that, over to the heroes. So Captain America kind of got forced into a counterplay here. He used 2 actions to move up twice into the centre and snatched up the Cosmic Cube because otherwise Modok would have made it over there to get it, plus got to help contest the middle now. So he is within the area of being protected by that Gamma Shelter, and he has a Cube Fragment, so far him and Red Skull have 1 each. Back over to the villains. So Modok activated next, and I'm showing you the final result. There was a skull there as well, but then one of the crits turned into an additional hit. He did a Psy Blast on Captain America, and that's the hit that got through. All said and done, Cap took 5 damage and got dazed in a single hit. So he has to drop the cube fragment he was holding. The opponent gets to pick where, and then I'm just showing that it is there, but Modok is spending his 1 power to pick it up because the Psionic, what's it called? Yeah, Psionic Blast is free it just rolled ridiculously well. So that's on Modok's card. He spent the power to pick it up because he didn't spend his power on anything else. Cap now has a bunch of power for when he flips over, but that is horrific. So after that shock one shot, Black Panther moved down here, spent power to pick up the shard that was there, and then used movement long to get to the Avengers side Gamma Shelter just to guard it. He didn't have enough to make it to the middle one to contest it, so Modok's probably going to get that one. We'll see. So he's got a shard now, but it's either Killmonger or Doc Ock to go next. So there goes Killmonger just copying Black Panther. He moved up medium, he spent his power to pick up the shard that was there, then moved medium to get into the protection of the Gamma Shower on that side of the table, which is also most likely going to stay that way for a victory point. So now, one of the two spider people have to go, Venom or Spider-Man. New boy on the table, Venom, has moved forwards with both actions small, which, the first one got him there, which means he could pick up the shard that was there for his one power. Then he has moved down here. He is hungering for a snack over here. And now it's just Doc Ock to end off the villainous turn, and then Spider-Man for the good guys. We'll see if any of their turns are significant enough to have their own clip, or we'll just do them at the same time if it's just movement. So we're just going to cover the rest of the first battle round here because it was just shuffling around, and then also the points as well. So Doc Ock, he wanted to get safe inside the shelter, and because Spider-Man is moving long, wanted to make sure that the villains kept majority there. With Cap being dazed, it's not that hard. So he just moved from over there, medium to there, and as you can see, Spider-Man did also end up here, mostly just for safety, because Cap is knocked out, he can't hold majority, but he's there and he's safe. So at the end of the first battle round, the Avengers have 1 victory point for that shelter, the villains have 1 for that, and 2 for that, 3 plays 1. And then in terms of cube fragments, Red Skull, Killmonger and Modok all gain 1 victory point each. They also all take 1 damage and gain 1 power. And then Black Panther and Venom do the same, and Red Skull and Venom take an additional damage with no power gained from not being safe within a Gamma Shelter. I believe that covered everything. It's still the villains going first in battle round 2, but that might change if one of the heroes goes down for good. We shall see. So as battle round 2 gets started, the Red Skull activated, and I can only apologise for what occurred, because maybe it wasn't the smartest idea sending Venom against someone who can fire sap power blasts of energy when he's weak against energy. Red Skull just stood still and fired 2 of them for his turn at Venom. The first one did 4 and he had 2 damage on him. The next one did more than enough to daze him. So he has dropped his cube fragment. Also, it was sapping power from him. I think he lost 1 power on the first hit and 2 on the second. So he doesn't have as much power as you would think for when he flips over next turn. Not a great first showing. None of the tactics cards could have helped from where he was standing. This one could be over before it even started. Avengers always go down swinging if nothing else, so Captain America has been the first activation, and he did 2 shield slams, one of which had a reduced cost thanks to a day like any other. He went after Modok because you've got to go hard on Modok, so this was his best chance. He did 3 damage with the first one, 2 damage with the second, plus Modok has 1 on him from the cube fragment hurting him, and that puts him at, what, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10 damage. Does give him a lot of power though, but going for like taking out the toughest person there, the most dangerous person there, I guess we'll see. And he obviously just stayed still because he used both his actions for attacks. The big man himself, Modok, was the next activated, not surprisingly in any way, shape or form. He spent 6 power in total to do 2 Doomsday Chairs, both of which were targeted at Cap, and both of which could do a free secondary attempt to do damage at poor Spider-Man because he's within 2. Captain America spent 2 power to do Vibranium Shield on the first one. Both actually did no damage to him because he is more tanky on his wounded side. They do, however, do the bleed special regardless of whether or not they do damage, so he's bleeding. Spider-Man was less lucky. He took 2 damage, 1 from each attempt, which isn't too terrible actually considering it's a 7 physical dice attack, but he is also bleeding as well. I can only apologise for the stomp that this is slowly becoming. Not even, well, fast becoming. Okay, maybe the game's not over just yet. Maybe the game is giving me hope. Spider-Man activated. He used his first action to shake his bleed condition. Then he just did a taser web on Modok and got an insane number of crit chances which turned into more hits. Modok did very poorly with his defense roll and took as you can see there, 9 damage. He didn't need 9 to go down, he needed 4? He only needed 4 to go down. Modok is dazed. The crystal has been dropped there, but Spider-Man has spent a power to pick it up. That's just there to make sure that it's covered that happened, so that's on his card. That was a turn up for the books. There's been some astonishingly, ridiculously good rolls, most of them on the villain's side, but finally one went the hero's way. It is over to them again now, though, to retaliate. Doc Ock was the next activation. He took a strike at Spider-Man and whiffed, and then just moved Medium to be to be at the shelter that was at the hero's deployment, but obviously with Black Panther there, we're currently contesting it. That was playing numbers, because currently with Modok being dazed, the middle one is owned by the Avengers. Killmonger's holding this one, he could technically go and try and help contest, but with him forcing Black Panther to stay there, that means that it's only a 2 versus 1 point as opposed to a 3 versus 1 or a 2 versus 0 or 2 versus 1, whichever. Either way, I think the math was done correctly, and this was the best bet for keeping the points down, and the villains are ahead, so as long as it's kept down it doesn't matter. His strike was useless, but his movement was used well, I think. So now it's just Black Panther. And that does also mean, because Killmonger's after him, that the Avengers will be getting first turn next turn. First turn next battle round. Say it right. And that could be very important. So although we haven't tallied up the points for this round yet, this does actually take us to the end of battle round 2. Black Panther stayed where he was and tried to strike Doc Ock twice. The first one whiffed. The second one did 3 damage though, so he did much better. Had to stay there to stop Doc Ock claiming the shelter. And he is on 2 health remaining, I think. Is he a 5? Yeah, he's a 5. Now, Killmonger, he technically had enough power that he could have initiated a charge, which is a free move and an attack, and then use his other action to move back. However, I think it's a save for... what is it called? Usurp the Throne. It's a save for Usurp the Throne, which is 3 power, and plus he wants to just hold that anyway, so he just banked his turn, essentially. Everyone on the Avengers side, Cap, Spider-Man, Venom, Black Panther, they're all the same threat level, so basically Usurp the Throne can be used on any of them. It's Killmonger's choice, so he's saving up. So that does take us to the end of the round. We'll tally up what's happening and be back in a second. Alright, points tallied, and Modok and Venom will be flipping over their cards. Venom is still out of the shelter, but because he's dazed at the end of the turn, the damage doesn't affect him. The Red Skull does take 1 damage from being out of a gamma shelter. Killmonger, and just Killmonger, they are also taking 1 damage from holding shards. And Spider-Man and Black Panther are also doing the same. And in terms of shelters, Villain 1, they own their own one for 1. Heroes own this one for 2. And this one is contested, so that gives nothing to nobody. So the points, as Battle Round 3 starts with the Avengers going first now, is 9 to the villains and 7 to the heroes. So to get Battle Round 3 started, Cap activated and he did a shield slam followed by a strike due to power limitations. His goal was to take out Modok. He only did 2 damage. Modok on his wounded side has 4 HP. He has been fed a lot of power. He's not dead. This is going to be bad. I told you it was going to be bad. Modok activated and did 2 Doomsday Chairs again. The first one was actually enough to take out Spider-Man. He's dropped his shard. Modok did also pay a power to pick it up, but again, just showing that it was there to explain that happened. That will leave him on 1 health at the end of the turn if he doesn't go down prior, but they're chasing the victory at this point. So anyway, Spider-Man did go down from taking 5 damage from the first Doomsday Chair. The first Doomsday Chair just dealt 2 damage to Cap. The second one did 2 as well, and because he's still alive, the bleed procs. But Spider-Man doesn't get it because he's flipping his card over at the end of the turn. Nasty. Saw it coming. So it does also mean now that that is a draw in the middle because Modok and Cap are both wounded. So worth pointing out. Back over to the heroes, see what they can do. Venom activated, he moved up small and spent a power to pick up the shard there that he had dropped when he flipped over his card. He then spent 3 on We Are Venom, which is range 3. He used it on Red Skull and did a massive 5 damage. Only needed to do 2 at least, so the Red Skull is dazed and it is dropped by the opponent, so it went there, and Venom spent the last power he had to pick that up. So he now has 2 shards on his card, and he's not in a safe zone, so he's taking 3 damage at the end of the turn. We're pointing out if he'd been damaged on his wounded side, that would have healed him for that much damage. So that's how you're supposed to run him, it's just he didn't get the chance because Red Skull just rolled so well on the first turn. But Red Skull's not getting a turn this turn. Venom is exposed but generating 2 victory points by himself, which might make the difference. So now in terms of villains, it's either Doc Ock or Killmonger. Let's see. So in a very cowardly attack, Doc Ock activated and spent 6 power in total for 2 arm lasers with Pierce on Wilds to shoot Captain America in the back. Cap thankfully saw it coming and spent a total of 3 power because one had reduced costs because on his turn he didn't do any superpowers. To do Vibranium Shield twice to up his chance at defending, and actually succeeded in taking no damage. So Doc Ock is still staying there, which in turn is forcing Black Panther to stay there because otherwise they get 3 points. So it's a good play, but now it's Black Panther's chance to try and take out Doc Ock or at least daze him. Let's see. Also, Killmonger is probably just going to have to stay there because he can't even reach anybody now and still attack. Black Panther used Kinetic Burst for a total of 4 power, the 3 base you have to spend, although I just realised that would have became 2 thanks to a day like any other. Tooling out, and it doesn't matter really because he ended his turn with an action left over. He did 3 damage to Doc Ock with the first Kinetic Burst, no explosion to push him back, but he only needed 2 damage to daze him, so Doc Ock that shouldn't be there because he's dazed. He's dazed, so he'll be flipping his card over. His other action is just banked, there's nothing else to do because he has to stay there to claim a point. And Killmonger, it has been decided, is also just wasting another turn standing here. Yes, he could technically move and then spend power to do a charge move, which has a free attack included in it. Doesn't leave enough power to do Usurp the Throne. It's not super likely Cap will go down. I think he can use Vibranium Shield one more time anyway. So he's banking that point as well, because as long as the villains maintain their lead, even if there is some kind of minor comeback, probably not going to matter. So we're back with the points for this battle round. Oh, also, when we do go into battle round 4, it is still the Avengers going first. So as we know, we've got Doc Ock flipping his card over, Red Skull flipping his card over, Spider-Man flipping his card over, but what's more important is the points. The villains hold their own shelter for 1, this middle one is contested because both Cap and Modok are wounded. Then we've got over here, because Doc Ock got knocked out, heroes get 1 victory point for their own shelter, so essentially shelters wise it was a draw at 1 victory point each. The shards however are a bit different. Killmonger has 1 for 1 victory point, Modok has 1 for 1 victory point, so 2 in total for the villains. The heroes, Venom has 2 and Black Panther has 1, giving them finally a turn in which they actually made a little bit of a comeback with 3. And all said and done, they've closed the gap but not quite overtaken. The villains are still winning at 12 and the heroes are up to 11. Obviously they're in a much more painful place, and also everybody who has a shard takes 1 damage, so 1 damage, 1 damage, 2 damage, 1 damage, which doesn't help. But the Avengers are going first. Let's see what they can do in battle round 4. So to get this battle round started, Spider-Man activated, and it is a risk. It puts Venom at severe risk of being annihilated by Red Skull. However, it was entirely worth it thanks to what I think was a very well thought out plan, honestly. Spider-Man moved to where you can see him, so he's next to that Gamma shelter there. He spent 3 down to 2 on Web of Hope to throw Killmonger at Modok. Killmonger automatically took 1 damage from that. Modok only needed to take 1 damage to be dazed. He took 2, and the fragment he was holding is now dropped there. Then Spider-Man did taser webs at Killmonger, did 3 damage, only needed to do 2, I believe, and has stunned him. So his fragment has dropped here, and Spider-Man has spent 1 power to pick it up. An amazing turn. Killmonger isn't getting an activation. He's holding the enemy shelter, so Red Skull might have to not go all in on killing Venom. But I guess we'll see. And Modok is dead, so he is off the table. So Red Skull activated. He used Sap Power for 1 action and only did 1 damage to Venom. Not nearly as good as his roll the first time he used that attack on him. Then he used Master of the Cube to teleport 2 within his current position, which was roughly there. Then he could just do a movement over there just so he's contesting the shelter to deny 3 victory points, which is honestly the best thing he could have done. So now it's over to the heroes, and they've got to choose between Black Panther, Cap, and Venom. Okay, interesting. Let's see what happens. Is this the comeback of the century? Venom activated, and he only moves small. However, he has wall crawler, so he can just clamber over stuff as if it's not there. So he moves small, and he does have a 50mm base, so it puts him there in contesting range for that shelter. However, then, even though he'd used both actions, he spent 3 on Clintar Rage, which is a superpower, and it doesn't say action in it, so he can do it, which is someone within 2, he can chuck them medium. He chucked Red Skull away there. The reason they did that is there's no point throwing him into scenery because Brace for Impact could just be played to counter the damage. The important part was getting him out of the shelter range, both so it's kept in Avengers control and Red Skull's going to get damaged by the gamma wave radiation. Pretty awesome. Over to Doc Ock to end the villain turn, and then it's two heroes going without any contesting, that's the word. So Doc Ock activated, he spent 3 power to do an arm laser on Black Panther and failed, then he did a strike and that did better and did 2 damage. Now this raises an interesting point. Black Panther has 1 health left. He's holding on to a shard which will do 1 damage to him. When does the shard do damage? The shard does damage, it does damage in the power phase. Okay, so there isn't actually a contesting there, because the victory point is gained in the cleanup phase, which is at the same time as the stuff with the gamma shelters is handled. So I thought that's when the power and damage happened as well, so it was like which objective procs first, but no, that isn't the case actually. You can see there. So, although as it rolls into the next turn, he'll fall over unless he drops the fragment he's holding on to. That might not matter depending on how many points. If the Avengers can somehow scrape together 5 victory points this turn, which is 3, 4, 5, they might have done it. Yeah, okay, well, either way, Black Panther and Captain America get a turn. I think this has been the greatest comeback of the century. Hang on. We're ready to go into the recap phase, and I think the turnaround has happened. Black Panther did his kinetic burst explosion again, did 6 damage, taking out Doc Ock. He is dead and gone. Cap activated, spent 1 power to pick up the fragment that was next to him that had been dropped by Modok, and then just stayed there to claim that gamma shelter. And that takes us to the points, and yeah, it's over. The impossible happened. Who could possibly have seen that the Avengers were going to win this one? It's irrelevant that Black Panther is going to pass out at the start of the next turn. All 3 gamma shelters are owned by the Avengers, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's enough to get to the 16 victory points. It's actually 17 it adds up to, but that's enough to get to the 16 victory points to win. But didn't even realise as the turn was going, the Avengers hold all the cube fragments. All of them. I didn't even see that happen. It just kind of did. So that's another 5 victory points, meaning that the final scores is technically 22 to 12. And there was no way that looked like that was going to happen when Venom went down turn 1, when Cap went down turn 1. Just, it seemed so improbable. There was fantastic rolls on both sides, just to be clear. Red Skull doing like 7 damage to Venom in 1 turn. Cap doing 6 damage to Modok in 1 turn, I think it was. There you've got the 6 damage to Doc Ock right there from the kinetic burst, so there was extra power got thrown into it, but still. Didn't get a chance to do any of the new Lethal Protector or Uneasy Allies or anything. I wanted Venom and Spider-Man to team up the whole time, but things just didn't pan out that way because of where the objectives were and what happened. Obviously, if Venom hadn't gone down turn 1, he could have tried to catch up, which is a shame. That was a really fun battle, though. At first it wasn't, but then it became more enjoyable. It went from being a stomp to being, oh hang on, this is actually kind of close, to being a stomp, but in the other direction. I think it's the first time I've had that experience in Crisis Protocol. So next time we'll have a new table set up for Crisis Protocol. Venom's going to get another showing for sure, because I don't think he got to do enough there, but he showed off the best and worst qualities of him. If you hit him with energy-based attacks, he withers, is along the short of it. I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching. Please do show your support and subscribe if you want to see more in the future, both this game and the other games we feature. Thank you for watching, and ta for now.